Before delving into the tumultuous events that shattered our relationship, I must first paint a picture of the bond Lily and I once shared. Our childhood was a tapestry, woven with threads of love, laughter, and unwavering support. Lily was more than just my sister. She was my confidant, my protector, my guiding light. From the moment I came into this world, she embraced her role as the big sister with open arms, her love unwavering, her devotion unwavering. Together we navigated the complexities of life, hand in hand, heart to heart. Lily was always there for me, a steady presence in a world filled with uncertainty. She stood by my side through every trial and triumph, a pillar of strength in times of need. Whether it was facing the wrath of our parents scolding or nursing a broken heart from a teenage crush, Lily was there, her comforting presence a soothing balm to my wounded soul. She cheered me on as I chased my dreams, celebrated my successes, and wiped away my tears in moments of despair. In Lily's eyes, I was not just her little sister. I was her precious baby, her responsibility to protect and cherish. She shielded me from harm, both real and imagined. Her fierce love a shield against the cruelties of the world. Our bond was unbreakable, forged in the fires of sisterhood and strengthened by the passage of time. I never doubted for a moment that Lily would always be there for me, just as I would always be there for her. Little did I know that our bond would soon be put to the ultimate test, and I would be left grappling with the consequences of my actions. I reminisce about the first time I met my sister's husband, James. His smile was warm, his eyes captivating. Little did I know, that fleeting moment would ignite a fire I couldn't extinguish. It all started innocently enough. James and I kept running into each other around the house, as if fate was playing a cruel game with us. Despite my best efforts to avoid him, our paths seemed destined to cross. James, ever the gentleman, treated me with kindness and chivalry, his gestures making me acutely aware of how lucky my sister was to have him. He would always greet me with a smile, his words laced with charm and sincerity. He made me feel welcome in their home, like a valued guest rather than an intruder. His attentiveness didn't go unnoticed. Whether it was offering me a cup of tea or engaging me in witty conversation, James had a way of making me feel seen and appreciated. In those moments, I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to have someone like him by my side. But I quickly brushed aside such thoughts, knowing they could only lead to trouble. Little did I know, trouble was already knocking at my door. It was a seemingly ordinary evening, with my sister Lily stepping out to run errands, leaving James and me alone in the house. The air was charged with tension as we found ourselves standing in the kitchen, the warm glow of the overhead light casting shadows across the room. In that moment, it felt like time stood still, as if the world had faded away, leaving only the two of us in its wake. James and I exchanged nervous glances, the weight of our forbidden desires hanging heavy in the air. With every beat of my heart, the pull towards him grew stronger until it became impossible to resist. And then, as if guided by some unseen force, our lips met in a passionate embrace, the heat of the moment igniting a fire that burned brighter with each passing second. In that fleeting moment, we forgot who we were, what our relationship was supposed to be. The kiss was intoxicating, consuming us both in its fiery embrace. For a brief moment, all the guilt and consequences faded into oblivion, leaving only the raw intensity of our desire. It was reckless, selfish, but in that moment, none of it mattered. All that existed was the undeniable pull between us, drawing us together like moths to a flame. And as we finally broke apart, gasping for air, I knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The sound of the door opening shattered the moment, and my sister, Lily, stood in the doorway. her eyes wide with shock and disbelief. The silence that followed was suffocating, broken only by the pounding of my heart. I'll never forget the look on Lily's face, the betrayal etched in every line. I wanted to disappear, to take back what had happened, but it was too late. The tension in the room becomes palpable, my heart racing with each passing moment. Lily looked at James, her husband, with disbelief, unable to find the words to articulate the betrayal she felt. Lily's voice trembled as she finally found her voice, her words cutting through the silence like a knife. "How could you do this, Emily? How could you betray me like this? In my house, under my roof, with my husband." The weight of Lily's accusation hung heavy in the air, suffocating me with guilt and remorse. Before I could respond, the world around me seemed to spin, and Lily collapsed to the floor in a dead faint. Panic surged through me as I watched Lily fall. Without hesitation, James and I rushed to her side, our hands trembling as we tried to rouse her from unconsciousness. James's face was etched with concern as he lifted Lily gently into his arms. He carried her to the bedroom, his steps measured and careful, as if afraid to break her further. And as he laid her down on the bed, tucking the blankets around her trembling form, the air was heavy with tension as James and I stood by Lily's bedside, our guilt hanging between us. In that moment, I knew that our lives would never be the same again, that the consequences of our actions would haunt us for years to come. The morning after the confrontation, I knew what was coming, but I wasn't prepared for the finality of her decision. As I emerged from my room, I found Lily sitting at the kitchen table, her expression unreadable. Her eyes met mine, and I saw the pain and betrayal reflected in their depths. Lily's voice was cold, devoid of the warmth that once defined our sisterly bond. Her words cut through the silence like a sharp blade, leaving me reeling with shock and disbelief. The first words she uttered were, "Pack your things, Emily. Leave this house, and don't ever come back. I'll inform our parents shortly about what you've done. I never want to see you again. Not here. Not at our maternal home. Not anywhere." My heart shattered into a million pieces as I realized the magnitude of the betrayal I had committed against my own flesh and blood. Tears welled up in my eyes as I gathered my belongings, each item a painful reminder of the life I was leaving behind. How had I let it come to this? How had I become the architect of my own downfall? I cast one last glance around the house, the memories of happier times now tainted by the shadows of my mistakes. With a heavy heart, I walked out the door, knowing that I had lost more than just a place to call home. I had lost my family, my sister, and myself. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the distance between Lily and me only seemed to widen. Despite our parents' best efforts to mend the fractured bond between us, Lily remained resolute in her decision to keep her distance. Family gatherings became a minefield of tension and avoidance, with Lily absent from every holiday and celebration. It was as if she had erased herself from our lives, leaving behind an empty space that echoed with the absence of her presence. Our parents pleaded with Lily to reconsider, to forgive and forget for the sake of family. They reminded her of the unbreakable bond between sisters, the memories shared, and the love that once bound us together. She refused to even entertain the idea of reconciliation. With each passing day, the hope of reconciliation fading into the distance. It was a painful realization that some wounds ran too deep to heal, that some betrayals were unforgivable. And so I resigned myself to the reality of our fractured relationship, knowing that the road to redemption would be long and arduous, if not impossible. But still I held on to a sliver of hope that one day Lily would find it in her heart to forgive me. As I found love again, a glimmer of hope ignited within me. With each step closer to my wedding day, I dared to dream of reconciliation with Lily, envisioning her by my side as my maid of honor, a symbol of our renewed bond. With excitement, I reached for the invitation, my fingers trembling as I considered the weight of my decision. Would Lily even consider attending? Or had I lost her forever to the wounds of the past? I poured my heart into every word, extending an olive branch of peace and reconciliation, hoping against hope that Lily would see it as an opportunity to mend what had been broken. The days stretched into weeks as I waited for her response, my heart in my throat with every passing moment. Would she come if I asked her? Or was our bond truly beyond repair? Amidst the flurry of wedding preparations, I held on to the hope of reuniting with Lily. Determined to involve her in every aspect of my special day, I invited her to be my maid of honor, eager to share the joyous moments together. From selecting the perfect bridal shower theme to trying on wedding dresses, I longed for Lily's presence, her support, and her forgiveness. Each decision was made in anticipation of her acceptance, each detail planned with the hope of rebuilding our fractured relationship. But as the RSVP deadline approached, uncertainty clouded my thoughts. The thought of facing my wedding day without Lily by my side weighed heavily on my heart, threatening to overshadow the happiness I had found. The letter from Lily arrived on the morning of my wedding, her words a final dagger to my heart. I read her words through tear-blurred eyes, each sentence like a blow to the chest. She couldn't forgive me, couldn't bear to see me happy. And just like that, our bond was shattered beyond repair. Alone on my wedding day, I reflected on the choices that led me here, the pain I had caused, and the forgiveness I yearned for. I may never fully heal from the wounds I've inflicted, but I refuse to let them define me. I'll spend the rest of my days seeking her forgiveness, knowing that forgiveness is the only path to true peace. I love her, my sister, my guardian angel, my protector, and I will keep loving her till my last breath.